With all the hype around the recent teaser for The Last Jedi, I thought that now would be a great time to make a video about The Force Awakens. You know, the Star Wars that came out 2 Star Wars movies ago. Real timely, right? The Force Awakens did pretty damn well, but relaunching the Star Wars franchise is no small matter, and it's not without some criticism. I even made a parody video a while back pointing out some of the ways that The Force Awakens was kind of just A New Hope over again. And if you want to watch that, there's a link up in the corner and in the video description. But that video was all in good fun. I did really enjoy The Force Awakens, despite all the things that I pointed out in that video. The truth is, there's really just one thing that bothered me about Force Awakens. Like, one thing that just I couldn't get it out of the back of my mind as I drove home from the theater. Supreme Leader Snoke. And it's not because my first impression of Snoke was that he looked like someone just took the CG model for Thanos from the Avengers and carved off bits and pieces until they had what they thought was an entirely new character. They are both Disney now, so I guess that's not impossible. And it's also not about the mountain of fan theories about who Snoke really is. Although you do have to give credit to Snoke for finally rivaling Boba Fett in the most fan theories per minute of screen time, considering Snoke literally has like 3 minutes of FaceTime in this movie. All of that was fine, I can get past that. My real problem with Snoke is that he is projected as a 30-foot holographic image. When we first meet Snoke, they do this cute little fake out where at first we're not sure if he's actually a giant because he's not a super obvious blue transparent hologram like all the other Star Wars holograms, but then the camera pans around and we see the flicker from the projection and we go, oh, okay, he's a hologram. Great, okay, but is nobody gonna mention the fact that the First Order carved out this enormous chamber that they only use exclusively to FaceTime with their boss? I mean, how did the construction meeting go for that? So as you can see, this will be the meeting room, but we weren't sure about the blueprints. We think maybe the scale was off. It said that you needed the ceiling to be 75 feet tall? Yes, that's correct. Okay, but is that really necessary? Well, we do have a whole planet to work with, might as well use the space. Okay, but don't you think it's gonna be weird with all that open space? Of course not, the hologram will fill the chamber. Wait, why will the hologram? We've special ordered a really big projector. I know this seems picky, even as Star Wars arguments go, but Snoke is basically the new Emperor, and the Emperor, from about the moment he gets that title, appears to us as a frail old man. His wrinkles have wrinkles, he's slow and hunched over, and yet he scares the hell out of a whole lot of people. His appearance hides his true power and his deviousness. When he appears as a hologram, he intimidates not through physical presence, but through confidence. There's something unsettling about him, even if you're not familiar to Star Wars. If he can look like that and still have Darth Vader following his orders, he must have some serious power to back that up with. Snoke is just big, yet he still has this weird sickly look to him, like there's some minimum requirement for a number of facial disfigurements before you can become a Dark Master. But he just sits there, and being big doesn't make you intimidating when all you do is just sit there. Thanos. And while we can infer the Emperor's power based on his ability to control Darth Vader, we see that his hold over Kylo Ren isn't quite as strong. We see that Kylo Ren is still tempted by the light side, we don't know how complete his training has been, and we don't know for sure what kind of power Snoke really has over him. Snoke's just a villain because he's the bad guy answers to, and he just kind of feels like a pretender to me, and I don't know, maybe that's by design, but it doesn't make me feel very interested in his character. There's one more logistics thing I need to complain about. Holograms in the Star Wars universe are usually used as life-size stand-ins. We've seen it with the Jedi Council, and we've seen it with the Emperor. And the images can be scaled down, but their positions don't change. Like when Luke sees Leia for the first time, she's crouching and looking down towards R2-D2 because that's the position she was in when she was doing the recording, even though the projection that we see is now smaller. Snoke is looking down at Kylo Ren. From wherever he is, he's seeing things the same way that we're seeing them. And it looks cool in this big chamber with all of this stuff around, but what do you think it would look like if we saw it from Snoke's side?
Even you, Master of the Knights of Ren, have never faced such a test.
By the grace of your training, I will not be seduced.
I just can't help but wonder, is Snoke really so full of himself that he had to install a giant projector and make everyone go to Starkiller IMAX every time they wanted to have a little chat with him? I mean, that doesn't really make him sound evil, it just makes him seem insecure. Or maybe this was something that Kylo Ren insisted on, like, "Hello, Emperor Snoke, I've built you a chamber so you will be as large as you deserve to look." And Snoke was like, it's really not necessary. We could just talk face to face. It just feels weird looking down on you like this. No, this is fantastic, I insist. I guess the only other option is that the First Order forgot how to scale holograms down and Snoke is actually 30 feet tall, but I'm pretty sure that's not better. Or is it? I mean, would he have a giant lightsaber too? Because that could be pretty cool. Can they even make a lightsaber that big? Could he, like, deflect blasts from X-Wings with a lightsaber that large? Hey there, I know that some people get really wrapped up in Star Wars fan theories, and if you're one of those people, please don't take this video too seriously. But in all seriousness, thanks for watching this video. I haven't really made a proper end screen for anything on this channel yet, so here goes. On the left, you can find a couple of videos that I made about Mass Effect, and if you'd like to see more by me, you can click the button on the right to subscribe. There's a lot more to come, and I promise that they're not all about sci-fi franchises. Seriously, the next one is going to be about a Disney villain. Although, I guess technically this one was too. Anyway, thanks again for watching, take care.